Hi everyone, we are Group 22, and our presentation today asks a simple but surprisingly complex question. Can exercise really boost your study power? This idea came from a common belief among students that being physically active helps us concentrate better, retain information, and stay motivated. We hear it all the time. Go for a run before you study, you'll think more clearly. But we wanted to move beyond that assumption and find real data to test whether it is actually true. To do this, we combined two kinds of evidence: a large public dataset from the Statistical Office of Korea and our own survey among university students. Through these two datasets, we learned how data quality, variable design, and psychological context can completely change the results of the same hypothesis. We began with a simple motivation. Many students, including us, want to know how to study smarter. The question of exercise and learning connects physical health with academic performance, two things that matter deeply to students. From there, our group decided to approach the question using data-driven decision-making, or DDDM. This meant first, using national-level secondary data to see general patterns, and second, collecting our own survey data to capture more detailed, individual-level insights. The combination of these two approaches, macro and micro, gave us both breadth and depth. It helped us understand not just if exercise matters, but how much it matters and in what context it has real impact.
Before analyzing any data, we set our hypothesis. We predicted that students who exercised more would show higher learning efficiency and better moods. To test this, we designed a survey of 56 students. It asked about weekly exercise time, study time, sleep hours, stress levels, school satisfaction, and two subjective measures: mood score and study efficiency. But collecting real survey data was not easy. Some participants left questions blank or misunderstood what counted as exercise. To handle that, we categorized exercise time into 0 to 1 hour, 1 to 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours, and 5 and over hours per week, ensuring comparability across respondents. Even before formal analysis, we saw something interesting. Students who exercised had a higher average mood score, 7.0, compared to 5.89 among non-exercisers, and they also tended to report slightly higher learning efficiency. This early signal encouraged us to dig deeper.
At the same time, we ran a parallel analysis using a much larger public dataset from the Korean Statistical Office courses. This dataset included over 2,000 respondents aged 13 to 24. We wanted to see if the same relationship between exercise and learning appeared at the national level. We normalized categorical variables, for example, turning exercise frequency per week into a numeric scale and aligning academic satisfaction scores for consistency. The data initially looked promising. Students who exercise 3 or more times per week showed slightly higher academic satisfaction and lower stress. However, when we ran a proper regression model controlling for noise, the effect completely disappeared. That's where our surprise began. The regression result was clear and disappointing. The p-value was 0.9118 and the square R was 0.0001. That means exercise explained less than 0.01% of academic performance differences, statistically meaningless. From this failure, we learned an important research lesson: bigger datasets aren't always better. The courses data aggregated responses by region, so the exercise variable didn't capture individual behaviors. Essentially, it was too broad to tell us anything about personal study efficiency. So instead of giving up, we decided to redesign our study, focusing on quality over quantity. This pivot marked the start of our real investigation.
When building our survey model, we created a composite variable called study efficiency using two specific questions. Actually, we used two variants: exercise time and study efficiency. The study efficiency variable was created by combining two distinct survey questions to form a single robust metric. Question 7 was, how was your concentration or efficiency on the day you exercised? And it represents the immediate short-term impact of exercise on daily focus. And question 8 was, do you think exercise helps with academic achievements? and it captures the perceived long-term benefit of exercise on overall academic performance. Combining these two questions helps us capture both short-term and long-term effects of exercise on studying. Question 7 represented immediate concentration, while question 8 measured general perception and self-evaluation. This variable reduced random noise and gave us more stable dependent variable for regression analysis. It also made the connection between physical activity and cognitive function clearer than a single self-reported score. So we then ran a simple linear regression using exercise time as the independent variable and study efficiency as the dependent variable. The result was significant. P-value was 0.0013 and R squared was 0.1795. This means exercise time explained about 18% of the variation in study efficiency. That's not an overwhelming effect, but it's meaningful in behavioral data. When we extended the model to include other lifestyle factors like sleep time, stress, and school satisfaction, the adjusted R square rose to 0.46, meaning nearly half of performance differences were explained by combined lifestyle habits. The upward slope usually confirms that students who exercise more tend to report higher study efficiency.
When we first started, we expected exercise to be the main factor, maybe accounting for half or more of the differences in learning performance. But in reality, the explanatory power was only around 18%. That might sound small, but it tells us something valuable. Exercise helps, but it's not a miracle cure. Instead, our findings show that academic performance is the result of system, where exercise, sleep, stress, and motivation all interact. Exercise supports concentration and mood, but sleep improves memory and stress can destroy both. So, what we learned is balance matters more than any single behavior.
So, looking back, our process reflects the full data-driven decision-making cycle. We began with an assumption, tested it using causes, failed, reframed our approach, and tested again with better data, leading to success. From this, we learned two big lessons. First, significance don't equal importance. A variable might be statistically weak on its own, but still play a critical indirect role through other factors. Second, data quality determines through quality. The same question gave opposite results depending on how precisely we measured it. Next time, we plan to expand into multiple regression, including interaction terms like exercise and sleep or stress and study time, to explore how these relationships evolve together. And then our findings suggest clear implication for education and students' wellness. Schools shouldn't just focus on physical education programs. Instead, they should design integrated well-being strategies that combine physical activity, sleep awareness, and stress reduction. For students, this means it's not about working out more, but managing your energy holistically. Exercise gives mental clarity, but only when paired with recovery and consistent study time. Of course, we also have limitation. Our sample size was relatively small, n equals 56, and all respondents were self-reported. The data shows correlation, not causation. But even with these limits, the pattern is consistent and meaningful.